Life doesn't always show up as we'd like it to or as we expect it to. So it's understandable that we can experience disappointment when that happens, when there's a gap between reality and the expectations we had about what was going to happen. Disappointment, though, can really pull us down. It can be a real pit for energy, for emotion. It can mean that we can't see a way forward because we're in this disappointment space. And yet, actually, there's another way for us to experience disappointment, which is to look at it from a perspective of, is there an opportunity here for me to see if there's something for me to own in this? See if there's something for me to grow with this from? See if there's something for me to learn forward in this. Because the thing I found when I'm feeling disappointment is that if I take this kind of perspective, if I look at it through the, well, hang on, what's mine to own in this? These expectations that I had, did I make them clear? Were they realistic? Was I clear and clean in sharing with others involved in this, that this was what I'd anticipated was going to happen? And when we're disappointed in ourselves, it's a real opportunity for us to think about, well, what would good have looked like here? What if I had the chance to replay it? Huh, if only that was possible, right? But if I had the chance to replay this scenario, what would I do differently? How would I show up differently? And how can I take that forward to make sure I don't have to experience this disappointment again? There's a tool that I use in lots of different ways, but I love using it for this as well. And it's a reflective tool called the Learning Forward Loop. And you've got a resource to go with this video for this, and it looks a bit like this. And so the Learning Forward Loop has 4 stages to it. So as we use it to reflect perhaps on the last 12 months, I reckon it's useful for us to, rather than go, oh, I don't want to think about what I was disappointed with, for us to intentionally think about what were the big disappointments. Now, this isn't that your footy team didn't win the finals, right? This is something that you were directly involved with. Something where it didn't flow through as you'd hoped, or you didn't show up as you now look back and go, no, I could have done that better, I could have been someone different in that moment. Maybe it is a project or something at work. Maybe it's something in terms of your own goals for the last 12 months that you didn't quite make it across the line. So as you think about the disappointments of the last 12 months, the first stage of the learning forward loop is thinking about, well, what happened? What did I do? What was the scenario, the situation that I'm disappointed with? So that's the act, kind of what happened. Once you've made some notes around those, the next thing is for each of those to think about, well, okay, but was there anything that went well with that? Was there anything that it went okay? Ultimately, it didn't go as I'd hoped, but there were some parts of it that went okay. So was there anything that went well in there? And where was the struggle? Where were there things that didn't go as well as you were expecting, or where you didn't show up as you'd hoped you would? And now with hindsight, you can see that actually, yeah, that could have been done better. So this is the second stage. This is where we assess what's gone on. So we've identified where were the disappointments, what happened, what did I do? And now we're assessing it through this lens of, well, what worked well there? Was there anything that I can go, well, that part of it was okay, but then this part of it less so. So what worked well and where did I struggle? So act and assess. The third part of this learning forward loop is then to think about, well, what have I learned from this? As I think about what went well, and as I also think about what didn't go so well, where did I struggle? As I look at those two things together, what can I learn forward from this? Where is there kind of the golden nugget from this experience so that it doesn't rest as an experience of disappointment? Doesn't mean that you don't have that experience, but it doesn't stay there. We're actually able to take something forward from it that supports us to be bigger and better and wiser in the future. So this, we've act, assess. Stage 3 is adjust. what am I going to learn through this experience? Where is there a learning and growth opportunity for me in this? And what is it? And then the final stage is apply. Because now, as we think about each of those disappointments, what worked well, where the struggle was, and what the learning was from each of those, now we get to take that learning and think about, right, where can I apply this? How can I take the gold that's come from this experience of disappointment and actually put it into action, actually apply it as I look forward for the next 12 months? So the learning forward loop is a way for us to transform disappointment that might otherwise leave us feeling, from that to, okay, yeah, no, that didn't go as I'd hoped. But what is the wisdom, the growth, the learning? How can I be better from that disappointing experience than I was going into it? How can I learn forward and really make the most of the golden nuggets of learning that may have come from the disappointment that I've very truly experienced? So on your resource, or you can just draw this on a sheet of paper, we've got the 4 stages: act, assess, adjust, and apply. And as you think about where your disappointments have been over the last 12 months, putting it through this learning forward loop means that we can gain from our experience of disappointment rather than be depleted from it.